All right, in this video, guys, we're going to cover some very common shooting errors. Number one, and what we're going to focus on the most, is hand grip or hand position on a bow. Most people don't do this correctly because of how their bow grip feels.
Where there's a will, there's a way. Won't quit, I'm here to stay.
Most bow grips want to encourage you to hold it like you would grip it, like you'd be gripping a baseball bat or that sort of thing. And that's really not what we want to go with. And I'm going to use Dan as my little guinea pig here to pretend like he's holding a bow so we can talk about what people typically do. Go ahead and pretend like you're holding a bow, Dan. All right, so Dan has been taught how to hold his bow correctly. And the pressure of the grip should run right through the shallow part of your hand. If you look at his bone structure, shoulders down, arms relatively straight, blocked but not hyperextended, and the wrist has been taken out of the equation. Traditionally, somebody would think to grab a bow like this. The problem with grabbing a bow like this is your wrist turns this way, which in turn torques your bow or makes your bow rotate left to right in the grip. By rotating your hand up, you eliminate your wrist out of the equation. And as long as you can push towards me, you always want to push your bow towards the target. If you're trying to hold the bow into your body, your bow arm moves so much more. If you can physically push your bow hand towards the target, your sight picture will steady twice as fast, and it makes everything just go off that much cleaner. So when you go to pull back on your fire and on your follow through, you already have that built-in pressure, so the bow will simply go off a lot easier. But this is a perfect forearm, shoulder, hand position on grip. We do not want this guy. Another thing people will do is they'll roll their forearm in when they do that. That's where the bowstring is. That's how you hit your arm. If you watch Dan's arm as you rotate it out, whoop, forearm and everything moves out of the way. Nice clean travel for the bowstring. This is number one most common. 100% important. Other common thing you'll get in form and setup positions is when a bowstring will cross somebody's face. Pretend like you're pointing that way again, thanks. When it comes across, come up here, Tim. You want the string, I'm gonna pretend like my hand's my string, to touch the tip of your nose as it crosses. It's very common for people to dip their head down and forward like that to look through a peep because their peep is too low. Put your head back up in a normal relaxed position. Ideally, you need this distance. So your anchor point with a knuckle is gonna be right here. Go ahead and bring that up, okay? String angle coming across your nose with a head and upward position, and your arrow's gonna be somewhere around here. This gives a decent, adequate distance between where the arrow is and where the eye is, so you have some sight drop as you go forward. But more importantly, and of anything, you want to keep your head central over your shoulders and in a relaxed position. So you need to adjust everything else to fit this position rather than trying to move into it. So it's really common to not have the peep to where your nose touches the string and where you can square everything up. Nose touching the string gives you just one more reference point of pressure. So you've got your knuckle here with your hand, you got your nose there, you got your peep, and your front sight, all things to reference. That's another additional big plus that helps make everything more accurate. Yeah, grab your bow. Grab your 20.
I don't have a sight on it.
That's okay.
You got a handheld or something?
Yeah, it's my bow. My bow's down there, there's a handheld down there.
Okay.
Choose mine.
Down there. Thank you.
Is that the bow you ran over?
The sight, yeah. Oh, my four-wheeler did. Runaway four-wheeler.
Okay, so draw it back the first time with like your nose off the string.
Handheld.
I was shooting that true ball, the goat, and I really liked it, but it's open. So when I would get into the blind or in a tree stand or whatnot, I wanted to clip it on and let go of it, and I couldn't. So I went back to my Sigmas. So that's a good example of no face pressure, no nothing.
Okay.
And you're using your nose button. There you go. Everything line up good there? So without that extra contact, you lose and your head can kind of float around and you're still looking through your peep, but your left to right orientation of your head isn't exactly the same. That's where that extra little contact comes in, to making sure your head's in the exact same position. And something to work on there. Go ahead and fire, what have you. Might be a little heavy, just so you know. Get after it there, big fella. So one other...
I like it.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. I mean, it's.
I like Carters though. Do you like Carters?
I do, but they hurt my fingers.
They're pretty bulky. Like,
It's not just bulky. This is tapered more.
Yeah.
So it doesn't rub my fingers raw. So every Carter I've had, you get blisters on your fingers, which is fine. I don't mind it, but if I have a choice of blisters and not blisters, I'll take not blisters.
Maybe I don't shoot a bow enough because I don't ever get blisters.
Well, maybe your hands are already just so damn callous it doesn't matter. Mine are, you know, technical things. Yours are brutes. That's a really common way for people to anchor. It is, I know it seems silly, but that's a very common way for people to anchor, and it's very hard to do consistently. All right, so to get your head position right, great training way to do it. Now, you're always gonna wanna do this with an arrow in your bow. Don't ever draw your bow back without an arrow in your bow. Find a safe place to point it, because it's a lot better to accidentally fire an arrow than to blow up your bow because there wasn't an arrow in it. But number one, in your head position, hold the bow up in the direction you're wanting to fire it, draw it back with your eyes shut. Anchor into your anchor point, get comfortable, and open your eyes. Can you see through your peep? If you can't see through your peep, your head's not in the right position. That is how you practice that. You keep drawing it back with your eyes shut until when you open your eyes, you're looking through the peep. Then you've started with your head in the right position that you're finishing with. Ideally, whenever I'm shooting, I'm trying to get my head in the position my bow is gonna be in before I ever draw it back, so I'm not moving my head around to find it. I'm already in there and I bring everything up to me. So that's your head position one. Your drill against the wall is relatively simple. If you go to a corner, an exterior corner in your house or whatnot where you've got the good ridge, the pressure, can I see your arrow, in your hand should go right through here. All right, you got a good visual of that. With a relaxed hand, and go up to a corner of a wall, lock everything out and lean your whole body weight against it. And try to not have any muscle tension in your arms while you do it. If your arm is locked correctly, you'll have no problem. If your arm isn't locked correctly, you'll start shaking because you're using your muscles as you sit there for 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 seconds. You'll notice a difference. Work your arm position to where it's locked in, to where you're no longer using muscle tension. The less muscle tension you have in every shot, the easier it is to duplicate. Simple as that. The more you use your muscles, the more fatigue you have, and the more difference you have shot to shot to shot, because it's constantly fatiguing every time you do it.
So stack bone, less variance.
Yeah.
Get the muscles out of it.
Yeah, try to think of how you would shoot on your 60th arrow. Start like that. Then your body's the same. If you try to start in a really strong, upright, and locked position with muscles and everything trying to hold it steady, by the time you get 30, 40, 50 arrows into it, your whole body has changed.
And while you're up against the wall with this, one thing that I would do, like go ahead and shrug up. Like this, keep an eye on that too, depress down. Like I have, when I get tired, my shoulder comes up.
Yeah, it's because your shoulder's tired and it can't handle the weight. It's because you're using your muscles. You keep your shoulder back and down, you're pushing into your body, you're not using muscles.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed some of those tips from my archery coach. If you guys don't have an archery coach, I would strongly encourage you to look around and find somebody that can keep an eye on you. You never know it all, and your journey is constant. I thought those were great tips. Go ahead and put them to practice, and we'll catch you on the next one. Hey,
subscribe.
So this is MF.
Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell.
Hit the bell, subscribe to the channel. MFJJ says so.
You never know when he's going to show up on the channel.
You do never know. Sneak in there, hear it again.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right, thanks, guys.